Hello everyone and welcome back to Ruby Lessons in Codecademy. So as I said in the last lesson, today we are going to be talking about symbols and slightly linking it into how it can be used with hashes. So what's a symbol? Let's start off with that. You can think of a Ruby symbol as a sort of name. It's important to remember that symbols aren't strings, so if you try to do something like this, they're not the same. A string is a string and a symbol is a symbol. Above and beyond the different syntax, there's a key behavior of symbols that makes them different from strings. While there can be multiple different strings, so we will see what it's talking about here in just a second. So while there can be multiple different strings that all have the same value, there's only one copy of a particular symbol at any given time. So the .objectID method gets the ID of an object. It's how Ruby knows whether two objects are the exact same object. Run the code in the editor to see that the two strings are actually different objects, whereas the symbol is the same object listed twice. So if we run it, as you can see, the first two have a different number or a different ID. Here it's a 9 and here it's a 6. So that means that there are two different objects. Whereas when we're looking at the symbol, you can see that the numbers are identical to every single digit, which means that looking at this is the same as if we're looking at this. But if we're looking at this, it's not the same as if we're looking at this. So think of this situation. You have x equals string, y equals string. These are going to be, x and y in this case are going to be the exact, they're going to be different. They're going to have a different ID. But if I did something like a equals string and b equals string, then these are going to have the exact same value, even with the ID. But these are going to have different values, because if I change this, it's not going to affect this. Also, strings aren't like pointers in other languages, just another thing to keep in mind. So let's move on. Symbol syntax. So symbols always start with a colon. That's their identifier. If you don't put a colon, you don't have a symbol. Just like if you don't put quotation marks around the string, you don't have a string. They must be valid Ruby variable names. So the first character after the colon has to be a letter or underscore. After that, any combination of letters, numbers, and underscores are allowed. So make sure you don't put any spaces, just like you wouldn't in a variable name. Instructions. Alright, time to create your first symbol. Create a regular old variable called myFirstSymbol. Set it equal to any valid symbol you like. So you shouldn't be doing something like that. If you wanted to do something like that, then you should put an underscore there, my symbol for example, and this is valid. You also shouldn't leave a space there, because that's also going to confuse it. What else is there? I can't remember right now, but oh yeah, putting a number there is also invalid. And yeah, there we go. So if we do my symbol, normal naming scheme, it's fine. Moving on. So what are symbols used for? Symbols pop up in a lot of places in Ruby, but they're primarily used either as hash keys or for referencing method names, which we will look at later on. So one example of how it's used in hashes is this one. So we have sounds, the hash sounds. In it we have the keys of symbols, cat, dog, and computer. Cat is meow, woof, well, dog is woof, and computer is 1010. I'm pretty sure that's simple, quite simple why. So symbols make good hash keys for a few reasons. They're immutable, meaning they can't be changed once they're created. So they're constant, which makes it so that they're faster to access and don't require as much processing power. Well, as much storage, memory. Only one copy of any symbol exists at a given time, so they save memory. So all these 3 points are kind of linked together. They save memory because they're constant and they can't be changed, which means they require less attention, if you will. Symbols as keys are faster than strings as keys because of the above two reasons. which means you gain a bit of efficiency by using symbols instead of strings. So instructions: add at least 2 more keys to the symbol hash, replacing the underscore blanks. The keys should all be symbols, their associated values can be anything you like. So I will just continue this by doing this, and then that. 3, 2, and actually writing out 2 and 3. There we go. Good. Now we have a hash of 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3 symbols and 1, 2, 3 integers. Moving on. Converting between symbols and strings. So sometimes you might want to convert between symbols and strings. Also, just like you might sometimes want to convert between integers and strings. So it's quite simple actually. You just do the symbol dot 2s or 2sim. 2sim makes it a symbol, 2s makes it a string. So we have an array of strings we'd like to later use as hash keys, but we'd rather they be symbols. So as you can see, all of these are strings currently, but we want a new list of all of those as symbols, because that's going to be more efficient for later on. Create a new variable, symbols, set it to an empty array. Use .each to iterate over the strings array. So strings .each, and here we go. Let's put pipe there, and string, I believe, yep, for each s in strings. So for each s in strings, oops, I did not mean to do that. Use the toSim to convert s to a symbol, and use .push to add that new symbol to symbols. So this is quite a lot of things for one point, but I will explain it step by step as much as I can. So the main thing is to push all of it, or to put all of these new things into symbols, which means we need to do symbols.push, because we're adding all of these. Then we need to get the value from strings, so that's s, convert it to toSim, and so this is going to give us, so for example, if we take HTML toSim is going to give us the HTML as the symbol, and then HTML is going to go into symbols as a symbol. And this, I believe, should work. Good. So ignore this. If we do puts symbols, I believe that that's going to give us correct things. Good. Moving on. Many paths to the same summit. So remember, there are always many ways of accomplishing something in Ruby. Converting strings to symbols is no different. So besides using the .toSim, you can also use the .intern. This will internalize the string into a symbol and works just like toSim. So it does the same thing in a different way. Again, something that we've talked about many times before. So this just gives us the symbol of hello. When you're looking at someone else's code, you might see toSim or intern, or both, when converting strings to symbols. So update your code from the last exercise to use .intern. So I need to copy and paste this, because Codecademy didn't do it for me. Moving on. Okay. And instead of toSim, you just use intern. And there we go. We get the same result that we wanted to get. And that is good. So that is it for today's lesson. If you have any questions, then do feel free to ask in the comments down below. I will answer them as soon as possible. Other than that, if you enjoyed watching this video, then please give me a like, share and subscribe. It encourages me to make more videos. If you didn't enjoy it, give me a dislike and tell me why you didn't enjoy it so I can improve for next time. But until that next time, thank you so much for watching and goodbye.